Okay. The time is here. It's getting really close to kicking it off. Obviously have a coming closed scrimmage this coming Friday. So it's here, and whether I certainly have answered this question a lot. I wish we had a lot more time. I'm probably every Division I coach in the country says the same thing. Nobody quite feels like they're ready, but whether we're ready or not, it's here. Incredibly young team, inexperienced team, new coaching staff, and new to each other. So we've got a lot of challenges ahead of us. Excited about it. The players have been great. Work ethic has been great. It's the biggest, I think, question mark that we have is how much we will be able to grow. I think our non-conference schedule, obviously it's extremely challenging, but I think handled the right way, it will give us kind of that forged from fire preparation for conference play. Our win-loss record has the potential probably not to be so pretty because of the challenge in front of us, but again, our overall goal is to become a national power, and I think playing that type of schedule is going to be consistent with what we do from here on out, and we're just probably not quite as prepared for it as we would normally be just due to our youth, but that's okay. It is. We're going to welcome it with that challenge with open arms, and again, excited about getting started.
What have been some of the challenges you guys have faced so far during training camp?
Well, again, I think anytime that you have such a lack of experience, you have a lot of, anytime you have a lot of freshman players or first-year players, including some of our junior college guys, guys that just haven't had a lot of college game experience. First of all, as a freshman, they're just trying to figure out their ways around campus. They're trying to figure out where the hub is. They're trying to figure out where the dormitories, classrooms are, and then to throw an entirely. I don't care how good a high school program they've played in, how good a junior college program that they've played in, and some of them have played in much more advanced programs than others. It's the demand on a Division I player. I think, and then just the speed that they have to play at, and the dedication that they have to have all before academically and in their training regimen and so forth. I think is something that it's hard for them to prepare for. And I know it's changed a lot since I played back in the '80s, and gosh, that seems like a long time ago, and it has been 30 years. But it's so much different now. The demand on the player, literally from the time that they get up early in the morning until they go to bed, their day is basically very regimented, and so that can be a shock to them being away from home for the first time. So that's one of them is they're just newness. Their newness to each other, obviously the trying to figure out just starting with their names and so forth, but trying to figure out who can play and who can't play, who's a little more ready, who's not. And then learning a new system of play. Not only are they, again, new to each other, they're new to the coaching staff and certainly our style of play, our terminology, way of doing things. So across the board, it's everything's new, and it's new for the coaches too. So I hope that shed a little bit of light on it. I could probably talk about that for a long time.
I asked Gabe and Drain and they asked him, what about Kanatsa? It seems like he's different coming in. Can you maybe go over and explain what makes him different as a freshman coming in from Europe as maybe a high school kid coming in and the difference he possesses?
Well, that's another subject we could probably spend a lot of time on, and basketball in the world is catching up to the United States. That's very obvious. There was a time that we just played our college players, in the Olympics, and it was going back to the early '70s. It was a shock. And then when we got beat, and that was with our college players. And now we've had to play our best players to win Olympic gold medals. Basketball, in its essence, is a poor man's game. And what I mean by that, it doesn't take a lot to play basketball. And if you look at the different ethnicities and so forth in the history of basketball in the United States, you'll find that the poor kids, not probably just basketball, probably I would throw football in there as well, have been most successful in terms of stereotypes. who's been successful in basketball. In the world, you're starting to see that, and basketball has exploded around the world in popularity. And so, going to our tour situation, the way they develop basketball players in Europe is different than the United States. Obviously, in the United States, they mainly come through our educational system, which I still think is great. I think that's the best way for us to do it, if I can make a side note on that. But it's different there. So they, whether they're a basketball player, maybe a gymnast or whatever, they'll go to a school that helps them develop that. Our tour went to a very respected basketball academy called Get Better Academy. It's located in Prague, the Czech Republic. They don't use Czechoslovakia, I was told, anymore. There is now the Czech Republic. And a guy named Julian Betko, who played at Butler, runs that program. And there's about 35 boys that are enrolled there. And they basically spend a year preparing to play basketball. And Julian's got a very, I think, an outstanding training program there. So he's very advanced. He's been able to play at the national level, and so forth. He may be not because their system's better, but because he has spent a lot more time preparing to play, and has a great chance to make a great impact for us already.
It seems like a lot more kids are coming from Europe to the United States to play college ball. Is that the wave of the future? Do you think even more is going to be here?
I think in the NBA, I could be very wrong, but I think every major award they had this year was foreign players, and I think that speaks for itself right there. It's just, again, it's exploded in popularity worldwide. Just the recent events in China with the Rockets, basketball immediately came to the forefront. It's a huge thing, and obviously I think we have to embrace that. I'm red, white, and blue to the core, and we're going to recruit players here first, but sometimes they can help fill a need, particularly with size.
Coach, in terms of first-year players and freshmen, who do you think can make an impact for y'all?
Well, if you look at our roster, we have two seniors on our roster, Leonard and that y'all had here a few minutes ago, and Boban Jigdomny. We have three juniors on the roster. Well, actually, I'm sorry, we would have four. But one of the young men we have four. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, we have four juniors on the roster, but only two of those guys have had an opportunity to ever play, and so the rest of the guys are freshmen and sophomores. Some were walk-ons and so forth, and I mean that's such it's a big question for us, but it is the question that we're going to address a lot, I think. But I think as far as right out of the gates, if we had to start today, I think certainly you're going to see Artur Kanatsa. He's got an opportunity to play right off the bat. I think Hunter Dean, 6'10" and growing freshman, true freshman from Mandeville, Louisiana. Been really pleased with his progress. I would almost consider Pat a Tyler Stevenson. Tyler was on the roster last year as a walk-on, earned a scholarship. In fact, I love Tyler Stevenson. If we had to play today, Tyler would probably be in the starting lineup. That's how far he's come, and I think he's got a great future. I think a young man, Jay Malone, from even though he's not a true freshman, he played a year at Southwest, but he's a young man with guard with 3 years left. He's going to play a lot. I think Austin Leslie, Player of the Year, 3A Player of the Year in Alabama. I think he's as gifted an athlete as we've probably had here in a long time, as far as just athleticism and running and jumping. It's unbelievable, his athleticism. And I think he's got a chance to make an impact early. Those are the guys I think that have kind of risen to the forefront as far as new faces. And again, I threw in Tyler in the sense that he was a player that was on the team that did not play very much last year.
The Archer, is he a 3?
Yes. He, at first when we signed him, he's 6'7" and a half. Probably could play the 4, but I think he's, especially with his future in front of him, he shoots the basketball extremely well, typical of European player, skilled with basketball. his challenge will be to guard an opposing team small forward, play the three positions. So we may have to do some cross matching at times with him, meaning that he would guard a small or a stretch four for the other team. It all depends on who we're playing and what our scheme would be. At times there may be some chances that he could play the three. But yes, I certainly feel that.
Is Leonard Dean a guy that you could play inside and outside as well, because he can shoot the ball, but he also has athletic ability people may not realize?
I think eventually, I think Heath, that he's going to be able to do that. He's already able to step out, face the basket, shoot the three, do some things that we like our fours and fives to do. But also, I think because of his size, and he's really gotten a lot stronger again as a true freshman, he'll be able to give us some good minutes inside. I think eventually we'll head that way with him. Right now, he's primarily going to be for us.
Leonard Harper Baker, do you see him as a forward? He played so much as a five last year.
Yeah, I know last year they played really small, had a great group of guards. We certainly wish we had some of those guys left to come back again. But, Leonard is a very versatile, you're hitting on that, Pat, he's a very versatile player. I believe Leonard could play the 3, 4, or 5, and I think he can guard 2 through 5. I really do. He's athletic, and this is probably going to be the first time in his career. He and I talk a lot about his need and our need for him to be a leader. Leonard's going to have to really, really help our team and kind of keep things together as we grow. But yes, he is very versatile. I think he can play multiple positions, and I think we have to do a good job of getting the ball in his hands a lot. And he does a great job of getting the ball in his hands himself by rebounding the basketball. He's a great offensive rebounder, has a really great feel for getting his hand on the balls.
Do you see Ladavius Drain as the primary scorer for y'all?
I think Ladavius does a great job. He can really shoot the basketball. He has shown at times, he can really, really shoot it, and he's improved his driving game. Mm-hmm. And certainly the encouraging thing about our youthful team, if you look down the road, is how almost all of our players will be back next year. So I really like the way that they're progressing individually. I like the way they're progressing as a team. And Ladavius, that's one thing. He can catch and shoot. He's got a quick trigger, a high release. He can get rid of it quick. And yes, he's going to have to carry a bulk of the scoring load for us. We're going to have to do a good job of making sure that he gets a lot of touches.
How healthy? Has anybody suffered any injuries that would threaten their
nothing. Gabe Watson had a concussion issue. He's been cleared, though, for a week or so. Missed a couple of weeks of practice. And other than that, and just other than the usual preseason nagging injuries, we've been pretty healthy.
Horrible question. If you had to start today, who's your starting lineup?
If we had to start today, I would probably give you, it won't be an exact 5 because some of them are running neck and neck, but if we had to start today, we would start Gabe Watson at the 1. We would start Ladavius Drain at the 2. Those guys are going to start. Artur Kanatzik at the 3. We would start Leonard Harper Baker at the 4, and if either Bobin or Tyler Stevenson at the 5. That would be almost a flip of the coin. Right now, Tyler's probably running a little bit ahead. He's quicker, whereas Bobin's got a little more bulk. Could have a lot to do on who we were playing.
Tyler looked pretty thin as a freshman. Has he put in the work?
Yes,
there?
I've been incredibly impressed with I have to give Alex Richard, our strength and conditioning coach, a lot of credit. One thing that's always been important to me personally throughout my coaching career, strength and conditioning, and he has really helped us, our players. I mentioned Hunter Dean. Hunter Dean during June and July came in as a typical tall, frail high school big, somewhat on the thin side. He gained 23 pounds. I'm not sure where he is since then, but he gained 23 in June and July. Good weight, strong weight. Tyler's been the same way. He looks like a different young man. Given us a full year in that training cycle, and then obviously you start looking at 2 and 3 years down the road, that's going to make a huge difference from him. This is a very athletic, bouncy kid that can really run and add in the necessary strength, the right type of strength. Just going to make him a better player. But Pat, when you see him, you'll be surprised as the comparison to last year.
In your experience, what are the main difficulties in it being your first year at a place?
You know, I think this gets thrown around too much, Alan, the changing the culture. You know, they feel, oh, we're going to change, got to change the culture and all that kind of stuff. It's just a different culture. You know, I've got the greatest admiration and respect for Coach Sadler, and I thought Coach did a great job of mitigating a very challenging situation here. But there's just a different way of doing things, you know, and it's just it's a different style of play, different expectations. And I think that the way we play, I don't think is I like to think that we like to use our head a lot, and we play strategically, and we like to run good offense, meaning that, you know, we want to run offense that helps our best shooters get the most shots. So that varies a little bit. We're not just a vanilla type team, and you know, just some of the things that y'all, from y'all's position, knows well. Like Pat asked, is drain. You know, it doesn't take. I don't think it's rocket science to figure out who your best players are, but it is sometimes a little more. You want to make sure that your team understands. Our philosophy is this: if you're going to battle and you want your you want to fire off your cannon more than you fire off your BB gun, so to speak. And sometimes as getting college players to understand that, and especially the first year, and what I mean by that is defining roles. You know, one thing that we gave everybody a blank canvas when we walked in, and they were sitting right in the room that you're sitting in. We talked about everybody having a blank canvas, because I didn't have any prejudice either way, good or bad, toward any of the players. I didn't know anything. They may have been